Taxes. We all pay taxes. In this unit, we'll be going over the process of actually doing tax returns. But before we start the tax returns, we need to understand some of the key components of taxes, knowing what's taxed, the tax rates, and so on. So in this unit, we will go over several of these key components. So first thing we will explore is actually doing tax returns. And tax returns is not a very complicated thing. If you have good tax software programs, the majority of us could do them ourselves. And this particular site will go over what forms we will get that contains our tax information, like W-2 forms and 1099s and so on. And we have videos here to help you gain a deeper understanding of the tax process and doing tax returns. So we scroll down here, we see all the common forms that actually most people will probably get and do their tax returns. We talked about the free version that's online. And in my example that I'm giving you, I talk about H&R Block. There are other good tax software programs out there, but in this review, this is the one we'll be talking about. And this is a totally free program. They give you the option to buy new ones and buy upgrade, but you don't need to. And you can file online both your federal and your state. If you have more complicated tax software, you will need to download the desktop version of this program. And I give you an overview on that. And to go on to our next topic, tax brackets. How are we taxed? What rate are we taxed? Well, the federal IRS government, we have a progressive tax system. In this particular chapter, we explain how that is and we give you an example. And here is a tax bracket. For an example, for 2024, if you are single, these will be your tax rates from the income. And if you're married, this will be your tax rate. Then we have capital gains. This is where if you have stocks or ETF or mutual funds and you sell these funds or assets at a gain, you will need to pay tax on them. However, the tax rate varies depending on your income. If your income is under $48,350 in 1925, your tax rate will be 0% on those capital gains. And as you can see, it could go up to 15% or 20%. And there are two types of capital gains, long-term and short-term, and we describe that here. Now, for the high earners out there, and if you're earning more than $200,000 a year, you will need to pay attention to this. If you're earning less, you could just skip this chapter. But this is an additional tax of 3.8% on any interest that you earn on in the bank or dividends or capital gains. These items will be taxed at this additional rate. And we explain that on this chapter. So go through all these chapters and you will have a deeper understanding of the tax process, and hopefully you'll be encouraged to do your own taxes.